It's great to be back here again on another beautiful day. It's Friday, October 15th. Can you imagine we're in the middle of the month and we're back here in the Issues Room, Facebook, YouTube, Volcano Shelton, Moses Sandy, Massa Washington. Welcome, lady, gentlemen. It's good to be back. Can't believe it, man. The month is already in the middle.
Yes, it is good to be back in the issues room.
It's good to be back. Good evening for Kendall and Moses. Hello to our viewers out there, and it's good to have you back with us.
So if you just joining us, the Issues Room is an alternative media platform. We have a podcast here where we discuss the things that matter, not just to Liberia, but pertinent to the African diaspora. And sometimes we take global issues and we talk about them. Tonight's topic is global in itself. If you did follow our promo, um, it's going to be a great discussion. We're going to be looking at areas impacted by the COVID 19 pandemic. But just before that, we want to acquaint our viewers. If you are there, just come on and let us know that you are here with us tonight. The discussion, as I said, is going to be very engaging, and it's all about you, me, Moses, the people of the world. Just a quick reminder the Issues Room will come on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and call it 11 p.m. GMT. So wherever you are, we ask that you invite a friend, share the link. Our broadcast is very, very significant to the well-being of our community. We discuss human interest issues. We talk about sports. We talk about politics. We talk about health, education, and so forth. So tonight, Moses, quickly, let me just say that our topic came as a result of the last topic. Last Tuesday, we looked at extended work hours in the workforce today, where people are working exceptional long hours, 16 to 24 hours. Um, but then we kind of looked at it from the perspective of what could be happening, what could be the cause. And what we found is that the COVID 19 pandemic, as has globalized itself, has taken, a toll on the world's economy. As you look around you, employment places are empty. We wonder where the staff are gone. It's considered a great resignation. We look around, we see major manufacturing plants are not producing as they should. The auto industry, the airlines industry are impacted. The railway system. In fact, when you look at and listen actually to some of the news, and you look in the ads, they have so many job vacancies. Just the other day, SEPTA had about 80 job vacancies for drivers. The school district are themselves in peril when you think about it. They're struggling. In fact, they're now paying parents to take their children to school. Then you're talking about the most important piece, production. Uh, as you can see, prices have continued to spike. Gasoline at the gas pump. Then you talk about service delivery. So all of these things now are the reasons why we're here tonight. Who wants to take the lead?
I would like to take the lead, and I would like for us to begin with a little bit of education for people joining us the first time. When we speak about COVID 19, we are talking about the coronavirus pandemic. It is a pandemic because it is a disease that affects people globally. It is infectious. It is the virus is very very infectious. That's why it is called. That's why it was declared a pandemic. COVID 19 started. The first time it struck, it was in Wuhan, China, and that was in December of 2019. By January 30th, 2020, The World Health Organization declared it a public health emergency with international consent. On March the 11th, 2020, WHO elevated the crisis to a global pandemic. And since then, we have had so many cases. As of today's date, research shows that right now we have 238 million COVID cases globally. In terms of death, research also shows that approximately 2.9 million people have died as a result of COVID. So we're talking about a virus that has claimed so many human lives, that affected lives in various forms and shapes. Are you there, Volcano?
Yes, yes. I was giving you a solo drive because I thought you were continuing.
No,
So yeah. So
I just
Master,
wanted
yeah.
to provide a little bit of information.
Okay.
As time
So
goes by, we delve into the issues, you know.
okay. So
Mhm.
Masa,
Uh,
I'm sorry, Masa. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Obviously, very good start, Moses.
Mhm.
Yes, so we know that the COVID has actually really devastated the entire world. And unfortunately, some countries of the world that are considered the poorest of the poor, like countries in the sub-Saharan Africa and certain parts of Asia, have actually suffered the burns of the pandemic. But I know we're going to go into the impact of COVID on different sectors of the human existence, but I would like for us to pay attention to the issue of hunger. As I was doing research for this program tonight, I kind of realized that the issue of hunger is a big one, and it's something that has actually eluded us for a long time. When I say us, I mean those of us from the continent of Africa that is considered, amongst the poorest. But let me just read a start here from WHO, the World Health Organization. It says that the dramatic worsening of world hunger in 2020 as a result of COVID 19, about 10% of the world's population, that is around up to 811 million people, were undernourished as a result of the pandemic. And it's impacted food security. And unfortunately, our children seems to be the ones who are hardest hit by it. And what is also interesting about this issue with food security and the COVID is that the United Nations has a goal and an objective of declaring hunger completely eradicated on the face of the earth by 2030. And so now they're saying that this issue with the hunger, the increase of global hunger as a result of COVID is definitely questioning that projection now. So most likely they may not, of course, they may not reach that projection. I mean, when I saw the stat myself, I kind of think, well, end hunger by 2020. I don't know if we will ever end hunger in the entire world. I don't know. But they are the experts. But so I just wanted us to look at that era, and as we discuss more, we will zero it down to Liberia as well. But thank you, Moses.
So if you look at the situation here again, you and I know that for the last year and a half, almost two, because come December will be 2 years dealing with this pandemic. There's some good and there's some bad sides to it. One of the good, I don't have to physically be in meetings anymore. I can, just be in my office and go on meetings, or I can sit right here and be on meetings. But apart from just that, the workforce is one of the areas. So the economy, if you don't have a robust workforce, the economy tends to suffer, Moses, and that's what we're seeing. Uh, Imagine there are 10 million jobs right now. I was in a town hall meeting, and this guy is coming from the vice president of human resource of my organization, of people operations, and he did say that 10 million jobs vacancies. in America. That's 2 times the population of Liberia.
But look,
Come in.
yet just to add on to what studies have shown, what research has shown, as a result of COVID in the United States, you have over 22 million people that are currently out of the labor market. 22 million people out of the labor market. So that's why recruitment has become a significant challenge. Most people are not working. And there are a couple of reasons why people are out of the labor market. When the virus struck in the United States, certain jobs were considered non-essential. So people were laid off. And then some other people also left their places of work because of safety concern. And with the introduction of the COVID extended unemployment benefit, which expired in May of this year, a lot of people stayed home and got compensated. Another reasons why we continue to have a lot of people also now in the labor market is the introduction of the PPP program by the U.S. government, which is the paycheck production, paycheck protection program. And this is a program which was initiated in 2020 to help businesses with employees of less than 500 people. So such businesses were given the opportunity to apply for federal assistance, and fundings were made available to these small businesses, individuals who work as independent contractors, nonprofit organizations. They provided them financial support to help underwrite medical expenses, compensate for salaries and stuff like that. So with all these interventions, a lot of people have taken advantage of the situation. So most people are ready, not seeking jobs.
And what I'm hearing, Moses, is that people can stay home and make a little more than what they were making when they went to work. and
Of
and and,
course.
it- and it seems to be a fact because I remember a year ago those guys when we go to play soccer, people were talking about it, and
Oh
I was
yeah.
concerned. I'm like, where you're getting all this free money? And people were laughing. Say, go to work, you go to work,
Yeah.
but there's free money all over this place, and I don't know, but I'm hearing that they were contemplating on you know, changing the dynamics around giving free gifts out, and they're thinking that people should have to come back to work. But I'm concerned that as we approach the winter, how much more? And hear what it is as well. The workforce continue to be impacted by the pandemic because there's still positive cases coming up.
Of course.
Just
Yeah.
today, a staff told me they had to go pick up their daughter
Mhm.
because the school said there was an exposure.
Okay.
So the kids got to stay home. So she doesn't
Yeah.
know how she's going to do it. She may not be able to come to work.
Mhm.
So tell me, that's just one staff, but there are many other staff within my organization. So how much more about all other organizations that are experiencing? So the more we continue to have positive cases, the impact will be felt. Masa?
Of course. A lot
Yeah.
of people. Mhm. Go ahead, Masa.
So, financial giant Morgan Stanley, they came out with a report sometime this year. I think it was in March or something, and the COVID has caused the second largest global economic recession in history.
Mhm.
More than 30% of the globe's population is now unemployed, affected by the COVID. Is because for several reasons people were under lockdown. Some of the reasons Moses gave, some of the reasons you gave of Volcano, and we know that China being the second largest economy, when the virus started from China, of course, it completely devastated and it just spilled on to the rest of the world. So if China is the second largest economy that the rest of the world is depending on, And if she's very early on in this pandemic, of course, it came from her. So if she was that heavily impacted, then of course you have something called the snowball effect, where the rest of the world, countries and population also suffer it. But so Morgan Stanley is also saying, and they're making further prediction, and that they are predicting that a drop of at least up to 30% in consumers' consumption of goods is still, on the way. And we know very well if people are not buying, of course, is an economic issue as well. And if people don't have work, or if people are not going to work for many of the reasons you guys gave, people have a lot of this free money passing all around. People got all these different categories of stimulus check, and then people got this PPP. Or one of our Liberian sister, the controversial one, who is
Ellen
now.
Cochran.
Yes, Ellen Cochran. Yes, so she fell victim to this PPP, because it's very it's very attractive. It's tempting, but you have to be very careful, because at the end of the day, the fat lady is going to sing. At the end of the day, you have to balance your books. You have to show your receipt, and you have to show Uncle Sam why you needed that money, where the money went, and all of that, because they too have to report to their own donors and lenders. So it's saying that the unemployment by end of this year is going to reach to approximately 12%. That is by the end of this year. So, we got more hard times coming in terms of the economy. And then for the fact that people are refusing to go to work too. So people like you and me who are going to work, we tend to be carrying, more than our share of the burden at this time.
Let me
But
let me
look,
quickly recognize.
mhm.
Let me
Go
quickly
ahead,
recognize
Potato.
some folks.
Yeah,
Um, want to welcome for the first time Uzondo Isionyi, and he will have been one of our guests here the last time when we talked about the refugee crisis in Ghana. Izondo, we want to just welcome you and say welcome to the Issues Room. Precious Carolyn Smith, um, Hassan Kiewu, welcome. But he says something here, and I thought to throw this in. He said, with companies introducing technology for people to work from home, that too has changed the workplace environment.
absolutely.
And so, for those of us who are going to work physically, we have a little more to deal with than those who are working from home in terms of being bogged, Now, don't get me wrong. When I came from Liberia, right at the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, March, I was home for 2 weeks quarantining, working from home. My brother, when you work from home, you're working. I'm not kidding you.
Of course you are.
I
Yeah.
remember getting up in my pajamas, just grabbing a cup of coffee, and by the time I realized it was 2 o'clock in the day,
Yeah.
because
You
you're
work.
jogging, you're responding, you're picking up calls, and all of that. It doesn't change the fact. It's just that the fact that you're not
The
driving
work
your car,
environment is
you're saving
changed.
on
Yes.
gas, and the commute and all of that. That makes a little difference. But I think he's right here with companies now trying to utilize people to work from home, especially certain jobs, but it doesn't cut it for those manufacturing jobs. So let's come to the car industry.
But look, before we even go to the car industry, I just want to say something a little bit about the PPP, program. There are people who erroneously believe that the money is a free money. No, that money is intended to help,
In the
small
moment,
businesses
it's more in
in
the
the moment,
moment.
to help small businesses, and it's primarily for people who are involved with what businesses. If you work as an independent contractor, you will benefit. Now, if anyone engages in any act that is considered to be criminal, the least term of imprisonment is 10 years. If you have three charges, you run the risk of going to jail for 30 years. And several individuals
Mm.
have been bought. People set up what? Fake businesses. I read about a gentleman who set up seven companies in California, and
He alone.
he alone he set up seven
So
companies
so
in
what's the cap?
in Florida. Say that again.
What's the cap of the amount you can receive per business?
No, it depends. It depends. If you have a workforce of less than 500, you're going to submit a budget in terms of how much it costs you to keep those people, getting
Employed.
Right,
compensation
yeah.
while your business, continue to deal with the challenges. So you have to clearly articulate why you should even qualify. It's an application process. Somebody says they review your application and you get qualified, and they make the disbursement to you. So, like this gentleman I was talking about, they knocked him down, or he got arrested after millions of dollars, was deposited into his account, and he went on shopping spree, diverting money to services that had nothing to do with employment. And so the federal got involved. Right now, as I speak to you, he's in prison. Ellen Cochran, she's not a victim. Ellen created three businesses,
Yeah,
fake
absolutely.
businesses, and she duped the federal government of what? Millions of dollars. She has already been convicted. It's just a matter of what? Sentencing.
Plus
She
the one
also
she
run the
hustled from
risk of
Liberia
going.
too.
Yeah, she also run the risk of going to prison for 30 years.
No, I said plus the one she got from Liberia as well.
Oh, well, I mean, with a situation with Labrador, that's a different thing. But I'm talking about what she did in the United States. So
Let me quickly
Ellen
work.
Cochran is not a victim.
Let me
She has a rap sheet, a very long rap sheet. So if we go into that, that can just be a different discussion by itself.
let me quickly
So
recognize. Let me quickly recognize Abdullah
mhm,
Kiatamba for
mhm.
the first time. Welcome to the issues room, Abdullah. How's everything with you? And my man Thomas Awaji is in the house with us tonight. I'm sure River Says Pro will be coming on, but that man right now
Okay.
he's doing his 60 hours here. He's not compromising. Masa Lasana, we want to
Yeah.
welcome you guys. Spread the word, share the link, and let's have fun together. But yeah, thanks for clarifying on the PPP. But
Yeah.
I
So
was concerned about the auto industry because
about
I'm
the
a
auto
victim.
industry. Now this
Eh,
is the problem we are having in the auto industry of Canada. Um, Most of you who are familiar with electronics, you may hear about the silicon semiconductor. Most vehicles today contain electronic devices, and as a result of the COVID in East Asia, there's a company that produces silicon, which help other manufacturers, in a manufacturing of vehicles. Because of the COVID, the company is no longer producing silicon, and that has really impacted the production of vehicles. If you drive around today, you go to parking lots, most parking lots, when you are looking for brand new cars, most parking lots in the United States are vacant, and this is a global problem. It's not unique to America. It is a problem that affects Europe. It is a problem that affects Asia. So this is a very huge problem. And
okay,
guess what?
so
In the wake of this problem,
I got
yeah,
a
what I wanted
defendant.
to say, in the wake of this problem, you and I can speak to that volcano. What we have now started to notice is that even with the rental cars that you pay $20 for per day, right now you are paying $65. There has been a significant increase in the cost of rental cars.
So let me
So,
differ with you.
say that again.
Let me differ with you quickly, all right? Because
Yeah,
here what it is, and this is my layman thought around this whole silicon chip and chip in the car and all of that.
yeah,
You remember the pandemic? When the
Hmm.
pandemic struck, people were not driving, people were not buying, people were only concerned about living and food.
Of course.
So
Yeah.
many of the car lots had 2017, 2016,
Hmm.
2018, up to 2019 brand new cars that came.
Yeah.
Millions of cars. Those cars were sitting there. Some of
Yeah.
them, even the storms, the bad weather, and those businesses were still paying bills. Now,
Hmm.
where you think they took those cars? Did they throw them in the sea? I'm coming. I'm coming. Let me make my point. Did they throw them in the sea? No, they didn't throw them in the sea.
They sold them.
They sold them, and that's what they're selling now. That's why they have not brought the newer cars in the bulk they should be
No.
bringing them, Moses. And I'm being honest with you. So
The
why
other
is
industry is not
newer
stagnant.
cars are
It's
not coming? Because they're trying to get all of the old cars out of the way. And that's
well,
why I'm coming to pay back for all the losses they incur when those
yeah.
car lots were being and no
Mhm.
customers coming. That's what we're paying for now. The word can turn itself around in a day. There are people smarter than you and I on this platform, and they're
Mhm.
thinking way ahead. But
Yeah.
who are gonna take the loss? Now it's
Yeah.
just one of the stories they're telling. But the
Mhm.
underlying truth here, all those cars had to be bought. And that's what they're selling now. If you go in the car lot, you'll find 2017, you'll
Very
find 2018,
costly.
you'll find
Vehicles
2019.
now they are very
Yeah,
costly.
yeah.
Very, very
But
costly.
let's give Masa an opportunity
Yeah,
to
go
chime
ahead,
in. Maybe
Masa.
she has an opinion. So maybe
So,
she has an opinion.
as you guys are talking about the auto industry, that's not an area that, I mean, traditionally, it's a typical guy thing. So that's not an area that, I give too much time to. But I'm just, thinking just from a layman's perspective. Moses, shouldn't those vehicles and shouldn't those cars be less expensive though? Because they need to get them off the market. One,
Well,
if you have a global recession, if people are not working, and then also if the people who are working are jobs are threatening in terms of the situation, who's really buying cars? Do we have people who are really buying cars?
absolutely, Masa.
Yeah, but
Absolutely.
Moses,
There's a
Moses,
high demand for vehicles. The
yeah,
demand is extremely high.
and the demands are high because they make it high. It's the same thing. Like in any economy, when they put the supply, when supply is scarce, demand
Mhm.
becomes high. So right
Extremely.
now, that's why they're not bringing 2021, 2022 like that. They're bringing a
Well,
few just to tease the public until they force you. So the cars you're paying for now, you're paying two times the car
of
price
course.
to to,
Of
to, to
course.
cover all those costs that they
Mhm.
lost from the onset of the pandemic. That's why gasoline now is no longer what you were paying for. Because many people are driving, like you said, the demand for cars is high. So a lot of people driving. So now look at the gas price at the pump.
I mean, my thing is, isn't that, again, just from a layman perspective, isn't that a false, isn't that a false, how you call it,
Yeah, that's what it is, Masa.
yeah,
And,
But
and I'm
because
still
it's
I'm still
don't forget
because
that.
if people if
Don't
people are not spending, like for example, according to the Stanley Morgan's
mhm. Research.
report, if people are not spending, if the world is facing a global recession, if you have about 1/8 of the world's population unemployed, and
Mhm.
people are living from welfare handout, you know, how is it then that people are buying these vehicles at astronomical prices?
But look,
It's just, it's not, it's like,
But that's what I'm saying. So you create a scarcity on the market so that the demand can be high. And Moses,
in it,
I'm sorry to say this, but I'll say it in honesty, and they will
yeah.
probably support my layman theory. The other day, weren't you selling some T-shirts from back in the day? You know what I mean. I'm not going to
Of
call
course,
the
yes, I
organization,
did
right?
for
Yeah,
the Agile,
I didn't want to call the
leftover
organization.
t-shirts that we needed
Hold
to
on,
get
hold on,
rid of.
hold on.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
call the organization name, but you let it
No,
carry the bag.
no,
But let's
for
say,
you to
let's
say
say
that,
here,
yeah,
if
yeah.
Aja did not make any new T-shirts for this convention that was
No,
just
I just
held,
did.
and then you said we're going to use those old T-shirts, but we're selling at $15 instead of the new T-shirts that would be purchased at $25. Wouldn't people go for that?
Of course,
But
people would have made the purchases, but what we are seeing right now, don't forget to, A lot of cash went out there. Let's look at the United States for COVID relief packages. The U.S. government disbursed $6 trillion for COVID relief. $6 trillion. That's a lot of money. Now, with the coming in of the paycheck protection package, where people receiving what? Thousands of dollars. What do you think those people do with the money? Buy cars, improve their lifestyles. There's a high demand for vehicles in the United States. And I'm telling you, this is a global problem. I was talking to a colleague of mine with an auto salesman. The guy told me, say he's a Liberian like myself. He said, look, Moses, people come from Liberia to buy brand new cars, but they can't. The vehicles are not available. 45,000, 60,000, 50,000, 80,000. People come from Liberia to buy these vehicles here, but the vehicles are not available. So there's a high demand for vehicles.
No one is disputing this, Moses. We're not
Mhm,
disputing the fact that there's high demand for vehicle. We're
mhm.
just saying that everything ties in. So I'm not giving too much credence to the less chip being produced. I'm not giving credence to that. They had to clean up. They had to clean up all of the losses.
All
They
right, we
had to
take
sell
that.
all those cars. What are we going to do? Throw them in the sea?
Yeah, we take that.
So
Okay.
what you do in economic term, you stop producing
Hmm.
newer models so you can
Hmm.
get rid of the older models. And with it, you just said $6 trillion infused in the economy for
Hmm.
the COVID package. That
Yes,
put money in people's pocket, and
of
so they
course.
want to spend it, and so
Hmm.
then they go on the car lot and they buy. So the more of the older cars you buy up from 2020
Hmm.
or 2021 backwards, the more visible the lot look empty.
Of
Then they
course.
bring a few 2022 and they sneak it in there
Of course.
and they put the price high. I mean, it's all
That could
business.
be. That
Yeah,
could be. And
yeah,
and
it's what it is. But let's
and
also
don't
come
forget
back
that
to
the auto industry is not a stagnant business. It's a moving business. It's a moving business. So people are constantly producing. So when there's a significant glitch regarding the silicon chips, the semiconductors, most of the cars today use chips. How are you going to produce when you don't have silicon semiconductors?
so this is where we are now. So I think
Mhm.
Masa will be able to understand this from that perspective. So
Yeah.
to make your point and to go along with your point in part, and I
Hmm.
agree, and I say in part because of course this impacts production.
Of
If you
course
don't
it does.
have the workforce to produce, and I heard and not even heard, but I saw in one of the papers that China had to shut down most of the plant because of social
Absolutely.
distancing.
Hmm.
It was difficult, and they
Yeah.
wanted to really curb the COVID. And we still have positive cases. The more we talk about this, there's still positive cases. So that in itself kind of have a problem with production. So
Absolutely.
so so, Master, what your thought around that?
I mean, obviously, like I stated earlier, if China is the second largest economy, and if the virus started from there, and of course, it was devastating for China and the economy, and then so if the rest of the world is depending on China for a lot of things, then of course you can see why we're having the kind of a global economic struggle that the rest of the world is having. But I just want to, again, not to divert you guys. I know you're into your card things and stuff, but I just wanted to look at, I just want us to bring it home to Africa. Um,
All right, so just before you bring it home, let me read what Hassan said here, okay? He said those who are buying are paying double to compensate for the losses. Mind you, the people open businesses to make profit and get involved for charity. And
mhm.
when you drive a vehicle, the assumption is that you will need or capable of buying gas. Others, um, wise, nobody will or he meant to say otherwise.
Otherwise,
Otherwise,
yeah.
nobody will buy a vehicle to park in the car park. So the gas price is also high, except for some states such as South Carolina, which have it at the pump for $2.67, and Georgia is about 278 to 289. So um, Patrick Awaji is saying that he believes that China is the largest economy and not the second. All right, all right. So Masa, go on. I just wanted to read what Hassan had written.
Yeah, okay, thank you very much. And Thomas Awachi, how are you, bro? Thank you so much for just being with us. He's with us every week and twice a week, and also Caroline Smith. We appreciate you guys. Um, so I was just looking at the impact. I broke down my research into several different categories, but I was just looking at the impact that is had on Africa and also on the continent's economy. The IMF and the World Bank, in fact, the first case of COVID was reported in Africa on February 14, 2020, and by May 13, 2020, they had reported at least about 100 and about 100 and more cases in all 54 of the countries. But now we know that there were certain countries in Africa that, you know, reported, not reported low, but they didn't have COVID there at the time. And there were some countries, and I think for a long time, Liberia was one of those countries where we were sitting watching, say, oh my God, thank God, thank God. It looked like, this COVID is not going to devastate us, considering the experience we had with Ebola. And but of course, I mean, the story is a little bit different now, but still, it is not the bleak, Hollywood horror story that people expected from Africa. Let's just still say that Africa didn't become completely devastated by the virus like people were predicting, especially our colleagues from the West. And so the IMF and the World Bank last year, 2020, they called together. They had several meetings where they called together collaborators, international creditors, and they were able to raise $57 billion to assist Africa to cope with the epidemic. That was in the first quarter, and then by the third quarter of the year, they were able to raise another $44 billion to assist Africa. But then again, don't be fooled by the numbers here. They can raise the money, but then dispatching the money is another thing. And here was what was happening. Africa didn't get all that money because of poor credit history. Some African countries are forever indebted to the World Bank and the IMF. And what it did was they restructured their loan process so that those countries that are historically known for being on the receiving end, who can never, pay their bills and stuff, they have been having difficulty accessing some of these $57 billion and $44 billion. So I don't know whether it was very interesting doing this research again. Thank you for Keanu for this topic. It was interesting doing the research now on my own this weekend. I'm going to look to see where Liberia is placed. Is Liberia one of those countries that really didn't benefit or hasn't really benefited yet from this COVID loan because of the debt and the poor management of the debt? Because what it did was they changed all of the restructure all of the application requirement. You must meet certain requirement before you can receive certain amount. But we know also that to bring it down to Liberia, we know also that Liberia got some assistance from the World Bank. She got some assistance from some international partners and whatsoever. And the government, I think was last year, did some COVID package relief where they were going out into the community, giving out food and then giving out some money as well. So I just wanted to note that portion. But let me give Moses and you chance to speak.
Yes, Moses, just before you come in, Patrick Awaji now saying he's conflicted with the vaccine mandates. People are being fired. What would be the impact on the global community? Well, Thomas, it depends on the job you're doing. If you're working in healthcare, of course, you have to, because most of the people that you're providing service to are at high risk. So it's
Yeah.
important. So it just depends on the job you are working. But then again, yes, it has to have an impact on the global economy or the global workforce. Um, so Moses, we talked
Yeah.
about production,
Yes, we did.
and we can clearly see that uh, the pandemic has impacted production. And the last time you and I talked behind the scene, we talked about stockpiles of containers in California, because they
Specifically
don't
Los
have,
Angeles.
yeah, because they don't have people to offload those,
Mhm.
containers and so forth. That then brings us to the component of service delivery. So
Absolutely.
you have the lack of if a
Truck
thriving
drivers.
workforce, a
Mhm.
robust workforce
Mhm.
that kind of diminishes production, and because production is being diminished, then you're also gonna have issues with service delivery. And service delivery meaning you're taking the products off the container to drive across country. For
Mhm.
instance, agriculture products.
Yeah.
How long can they last if they don't have the
Mhm.
workforce in place to take those services to the people?
But look, just what you were saying. This week, early this week, there was this news report, and you made reference to that with a situation in Los Angeles, California, where you have thousands of containers that remain at the port of Los Angeles because you don't have truck drivers, you don't have warehouse workers. All of the, because people are just not in the labor market. Now, when that happens, then it affects service delivery because people who have placed orders, and let me use myself here as an example. I'm doing some in-home renovation here, and I went to a local, company here in Delaware called Lowe's, and made a huge payment. They told me they could do it for $16,000. I made a payment of $12,000 initially,
Master, you
and
see, I
the
see why you
promise
said
went.
the man making big money. Oh.
No, I mean, I just using myself as an example. And Lowe's promised to come and do the renovation in my home. And Volcano, they have made four promises, all broken. And they tell me they are they are unable to deliver at the moment because of the COVID. I'm talking about since May. Just this week, I was on the phone with somebody from the company, and they said to me, "Oh well, November the 4th." I said, "Well, come November the 4th, if you guys are not yet to do the job, then what happens?" So I am just an individual, and you had thousands, thousands of people that are faced with this problem because of the COVID. It
So
tells
let me
you how huge this problem is. You have containers that are stuck. Good people are placing orders, but the orders are not being delivered because you don't have nobody to work. The guys who are supposed to be working in the warehouses, they are not available. The truck drivers are not available. It's the same old thing with the uh, hospitality businesses. You go to restaurants, you have what? Limited staff, limited staff. So as a result, you have fewer people that are working what? Longer hours now. Even at my current place of work, as I speak to you, if you know any social worker, recommend them to me. We need 5 social workers. We cannot fill those positions because what? There are no applicants. And I'm sure you can speak to that volcano. You can also speak to that massa.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
from the perspective of all you're talking is also in the garage. You go
Hmm.
to the garage just for oil change, you're gonna spend the whole day
Yeah.
because you really can have mechanics there. So everything now you have to book long in advance.
Yes.
Try to make plans. The mailman, the mail, when you put an
Yeah.
order in, they're giving you long, you know, uh, uh, periods of time before those things can come. But uh, Uzondo said that Ghana was in the front seat when it comes to receiving aid packages for COVID.
Mhm.
They benefited and are still benefiting with the supply of the vaccine. So there are certain countries in Africa that can justify the usage of how these funds. But we'll come back to Liberia. We're now at the intermission. So let me
Okay.
just quickly remind our folks, welcome to the issues room. In the issues room, we discuss the things that matter. The things can be anything from politics, human interest story, education, health, sports, entertainment, whatever it is, we discuss here in the issues room. We come on Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which is 11 p.m. GMT. We broadcast live on Facebook and YouTube, and also the issues room page. You can always catch our broadcast, our repeat broadcast, to follow through if you missed us. We encourage you, our viewers and listeners all over the world, to share the video, to share our link, to like us, and just encourage people to come on, because here we try to do our best to make sure that we bring you the facts. We don't try to align ourselves with anything that is not of journalism. We practice the ethics, and we try to stay free of anything that will derail what we are intending to do. And what we intend to do is to enlighten, to be a voice, to be an alternative media platform. And we've done that. And this is our 10th edition so far. My name is Volcano Shelton, Massa Washington, and Moses Sandy, and we team up together here in the issues room to discuss the things that matter. We're going to now tell you you can join us, by calling in. Um, at this time, we'll want to open the lines to give people a lot of opportunities so we can engage. The number to call is 484-292-4397. 484-292-4397. Masa, I know you just traveled the other day, and we're talking service delivery now as a result of the impact of the pandemic. Service delivery can span in all of the services. So the airport, the airlines, they
Yeah.
juggling with flights and canceling, and tell you one day you hear and they tell you, oh, you can't go. What was your experience as a result of just going through airports and stuff regarding service?
Well, I guess I was lucky. I didn't have any, very concerning issues with the airport. My flights were all on time, but it was just a Liberian aspect of it. You have to like download that Liberian app for the COVID app. One is difficult to download, not like it's difficult to download, but you're doing it, but it's not downloading because of their site in Liberia. And then two, even when you pay the money there, they say pay the money there when you get to Liberia. So, but that's not the issue here. But it is interesting how Moses, when you and Fokane broke this thing down with the impact of the COVID, especially the economic impact and the social impact, I'm just realizing that all of us are really living this and we are having the experience, but we don't pay attention. Like, for example, somebody mailed something to me, one of a Liberian colleague who lives in Canada mailed a package to me since July. I haven't received the package yet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't received the package yet. It's just he was in Liberia and my sister sent a little package with some African clothing. Thank God there was nothing. I told her don't put no fish, so none of those things are inefficient stuff. It's only coconut candy, and I told her kaya because I love kaya. So my kaya and my coconut candy floating somewhere out there, probably stuck on one container. So, but that's since July. And then also, I'm trying to change my furniture in my place. I'm trying to, you know, do a little change for the Christmas. For the Christmas, yeah. So on the Saturday, my son and I went to a furniture warehouse, and I saw a dining room set and a living room set that I like. And I had the cash on me to pay, but then the guy was saying the dining room set will not get to me until end of December, and the
Yeah.
living room set will not get to me until February. But
Yeah.
I never connected it to COVID. When you're in the moment, you don't
Just
think
because of
beyond
COVID. Yeah.
what your needs are. But now that you guys are saying it, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. So should I just look for a furniture store or warehouse that has everything there where they can just pay because I need to fix my place. I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait for. So I didn't pay the money. I didn't
Yeah.
pay the money. I came back, brought all that money with me and stuff. So
Mhm.
tomorrow I'm going to go and look around again. But thank you guys for this topic. Now I want to look for a place that has the physical furniture because I can't wait for, I can't wait for January and February to clean my place.
But you know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen to you, Masa? You're gonna go there and they're gonna tell you these are flow models.
Yeah,
We don't
Yeah, but
have anything in the
that's
warehouse.
what I will
yeah,
tell you.
yeah.
We don't have anything in the warehouse, so
Mhm.
you have to wait until we put an order in. Just imagine I wanted a cell phone. I'm right now struggling for a cell phone. There's no 256 gigabyte of the Samsung Galaxies. Everything they want to
No.
sell is the 128. I have
Okay.
a 256, so they both cannot in sync
Yeah.
because the
Yeah, yeah,
data
yeah.
and storage on one phone is more than the other phone.
Of course.
They didn't tell me that. I went and got this phone and then it just didn't work. And then when I got another phone, that one got missing, but it's a whole nother story.
Hmm.
But this is what happening.
Mhm.
Service now is being impacted by this pandemic. But let's drive it
Severely.
home now to Liberia.
But look, before driving it home, let me
Okay.
just further buttress what Masa was saying, right? Volcano, this week I was so angry. I went to Lowe's. I asked them to reimburse me or to refund my money, and the guys told me, okay, look, Mr. Sanders will give you a phone call. They called me the following day and talked to me, and then I had a second thought. Okay, now take $2,000, bring this money home. Maybe use it for the own intended purpose. I said, look, guys, I just keep the money whenever you ready. Let me know. And that's what happening now with a lot of people. My side, you make your payment, they're gonna give you months. Even with that, it is not guaranteed.
Then, but
You
then I think
know,
I would check
you
to I
deposit.
check to
Now,
Walmart or one of that.
so let me tell you, since we're discussing the supply chain, last evening I was doing a little bit of research and I noticed that 1 in 3 families in the United States now struggle with, especially those who have children. 1 in 3 families in the United States now struggle in obtaining what? Diapers.
Yeah.
There's a nonprofit in the United States
Hmm.
called Baby to Baby. This is an organization that help individuals, especially the poor. They provide free pampers, free pampers and other and other things for kids. The request for diapers has increased by 500% because services are not being delivered. The
That's
containers
it.
are all stuck
That's
up at
it.
the ports.
And not only that they continue to stockpile at the port, but production in the assembly is not
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
No.
But listen, Moses, Thomas Awaji said, my man, let's join and put that 12,000 to use in Liberia. You can't call 12,000. I'll visit you tonight, my man. I come here. So but Uzondo said that technology is going to be the way forward. So businesses are migrating to online transaction. But even at
Yeah.
that, when you think about it, you do the online transaction, still the human being got to bring the goods.
The human being got to come
We
and
haven't
deliver it.
gotten to the robot where the robot will bring the thing to my house now. So Zondo, I understand. Yes, that's progress, but we still need people. We still need people. And with all of this, one of the things I've contemplated, I've been thinking about it, and it just happened the other day at work. In the midst of all of this, we're moving from all of our old fashioned way of archiving and
Mhm.
keeping data, and we're going straight into electronics. The
Mhm.
last time, our whole network shut down.
Yeah.
What about working? We're just passing around the place.
Yeah.
So there's another thing that's going to happen because you still don't have the technical guys in the area to come
Yeah.
and troubleshoot and do those things.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
then here's the positive to all of this in the decrease in the workforce.
Yeah.
I was thinking as we're contemplating this topic, and I said, wait a minute, this is the time for some folks to get post office job. You know how it used to be hard to get post office job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what it means to work for the post office, the benefits and all of that?
Of course, yeah.
So right now the post office got a whole lot of vacancies.
Yeah, vacancies are out
So
there.
for those of you who thinking about working for the post office, they're looking
This
for
is
people.
time.
If you're thinking about working for SEPTA, they're looking for people. If you're thinking
They're
about
looking
driving
for
school
people.
buses, they're looking for people.
Looking for
So
people, yeah.
new opportunities as a result of this.
Yeah.
Um, I think uh, I think one of the hold back to some getting some of applying for some of those jobs too is that again, every time we speak, I like to always narrow it to to our people too. Is that I think a lot of our, because those jobs are like county and federal jobs, you got to have your citizenship, right? Like
Yeah.
No.
to work for the city of Philadelphia, you have to have a U.S. citizenship. You can't do it
No.
with just your green card, right, Moses?
No. To work for the city of Philadelphia, all it takes as an immigrant is you must have a legal status. You don't necessarily have to be a resident to work for the
Oh,
Department of Human Services.
oh, that's what I thought.
You can even be like for most of our Liberian brothers that were on TPS before. Once you can show that you are legal, you will be hired. Now,
Okay.
if it is a position that is only for citizens, that would be clearly stated about being a mailman, sorting out mails at the post office. You do not need a permanent residence status. You must just have some legal documentation. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, but
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
people got jobs, they need to go and apply. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you know,
Most of the demands for workers are so high. Everywhere you turn to right now, if you drive to the Walmart, you're going to see a poster sign:
yeah, yeah, yeah. They got us
help needed,
not
help
hiring all over
needed.
the place.
Everywhere you
And
go, help needed.
Walmart paying a little more now, but with
Yes.
quickly, my man, we're trying to promote. So Yeko U Harris says that he wants one of the issues room T-shirt. Now Yeko U, because of the weather, we're doing the hoodies. So I'll give you a call. You put your number. I'll call you. We'll discuss the modalities, so we can see how we can get you one of the hoodies. But
Yeah.
yeah. So let's drive this to Liberia now.
Yeah, to
I
Liberia.
want to encourage our callers. Call now 484-292-4397. 484-292-4397. Call us and engage us. Let's talk about this. I'm sure somewhere in your own little corner you've been impacted by this global pandemic. Um, you got to take vaccine to travel. Then you get there again. Then they want to take. You got to take vaccine again. Then you coming back. You got my whole arm sore. I can't even lift it up. So let's go to Liberia. You were talking something about the agriculture conglomeration
Yeah.
of folks who are also
Yeah.
being impacted because of the pandemic and that kind of uh creating problem for for food production.
Yeah.
Liberian man already can't feed himself. He got all the excuse now to say the COVID making he can't go to the farm.
Yeah,
Moses?
yeah. I was looking Liberia up, and this conglomeration, the group of farmers come together, calling the group as cool. I'm sure most of you will be familiar with that, where you have farmers, come together. It's okay. Today we're going to work on Moses Farm.
Mhm,
Tomorrow we'll go to a volcano shelter like that.
mhm.
Now, with the coming of the COVID, or with the COVID crisis, what that did to our local farmers is that such conglomeration became disallowed. So people were no longer allowed to assemble in huge number, and that really affected agricultural production. A research also shows that the farmers in Liberia started complaining that because of the COVID, the cost of farming tools and other implements became extremely high for them, and that affected what food production significantly. Mhm. I know earlier, Masa, you talked about the COVID relief package in Liberia.
Moses?
Yes,
Just hold your thought. Let me bring a caller in. All right.
sure, sure.
Because we want to encourage our callers to join us here. Good
Mhm.
evening, caller. Where you calling from?
Good evening. I'm calling from Pennsylvania.
Okay, are you following the show?
Yes, I am. So the reason why I'm calling is because you guys talked about there are so many jobs right now for people to apply for, and all of those things. It is true that, yeah, people have so many options out there right now. And, on the other hand, people are so comfortable with not working right now because of one thing or another. Some might have had resources from the government and they feel like it is not necessary for them to go back,
Mhm.
while others are terrified. Terrified in a sense, before, when you apply for a job you feel like you're qualified for, they tell you, well, you don't have enough experience. We're not going to give you the job. So why should they apply now for something that they didn't have experience for when they tried before? You know, so it's it's in a sense, it's like you're caught between a hard rock and a hard place. One end you have money without sweating for it. The other, now there's a job. But wait, I don't have the experience for it. And the other hand, wait, are they gonna ask me to take the COVID vaccine? Because most people don't want to do that. And most jobs now, like
That
for
could
working for
be.
the state, Philadelphia, you need that. Working for a hospital, you need to take the vaccine. So there are issues, surrounding all the job market right now. And the pay is competitive as well. And so all those options out there, people have options. And sometimes when you have too many options, you feel yourself drowning. You don't know what to do. So right now, let's just say we in the job market, we're drowning. So many options out there, we don't know what to pick. It's like a kid in
Thank
a
you.
candy store,
Thank you. Thank you.
But
Just
thank you
found the lollipop.
very hello.
Yeah, you said it, you like a kid in the candy store. I said just found a lollipop.
What flavor though?
Is this Nabi? Is this Nabi
No,
Fofana?
the show is educative and it's interesting.
All right. I gotta go. There's another caller calling. Thank you so much for calling. We appreciate your time.
What's it? Who's that caller? Volcano, what's that caller's name?
I didn't ask the caller for a name. I'm so sorry. Gosh. Let me see if this caller is here. All right, the caller is calling from a 202 number. We'll hope that they call back. But Moses, yeah, you were in flight, so continue. If the caller
Yeah,
call
no.
back, I'll interrupt you.
I was talking about the situation in Liberia. Massa talked about the COVID relief package which the government promised. Uh, the reports from Liberia regarding how the COVID relief package, as of how that was handled, that report is not encouraging. The we administration said that I allocated $30 million to help, our families and individuals affected by COVID, and the province to also distribute to people, to distribute food to Liberians throughout the country. But the reports that we are getting is that most of the areas that really had affected people, those people didn't benefit from 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 the package. Again, that speaks a lot about our political governance in Liberia.
All right, let me bring a caller in. The caller is calling from a 202 number. Caller, welcome to the issues room. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, everyone. Again, this is Precious, and I had to call in.
The question is loud. Hello, I mean.
Precious, could you
Yeah,
just
but
project a little bit? Could you just project a little bit?
okay, can you all hear me now? Is it better?
Yes,
Yeah.
Precious.
Yes, it's better.
O- Okay, so I know you guys have moved forward, on referencing Liberia, but I just want to go back because I was trying to get through earlier. So concerning the whole issue of going back to work. And my opinion on this is, first, government had to infuse the economy and they did what they had to do. It's like a two-edged sword kind of situation from what I see. So it reminds me of the so-called social welfare services we have. You know, government provides those services. They're supposed to be temporary, temporary. Unfortunately, they're going on. So yeah, we have a situation. People are receiving money, to encourage them to spend. And more than likely, most people were spending conservatively, in my opinion. And then you have a situation now, people going back to work. Well, you have this virus. Some people have uncertainties. Of course, people got comfortable. People are still questioning, going back to work. What if, what if? So I'm supposing that could be one of the reasons why, people have gotten complacent, expecting government to keep serving them like a social service, program in place, want to keep getting money. But then the government needs to do that to get the economy to keep going. So, it's just one of those things, like how do you balance it? That was basically, I guess, the question sitting all in one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Precious, for calling. We appreciate your time. So, yeah, Moses, I think everyone is saying the same thing here. It's a double edged sword. You think about it, uh, one meaning you want to come back to work, but as a caveat, you don't want to take the vaccine. And then on the other hand, you can get something free just to sustain yourself and your family, and you decide to stay home. So I don't know if there's, I would call it a win-win or a lose-lose, but that's the situation. But just before you come in, the critical issues room, uh, the guy says, "I'm here, boss," and that successful minor we say, "Welcome, welcome, welcome." We see some newer faces here tonight, or names here tonight, and we appreciate you joining us in the issues room. We hope that you will continue to invite others to join us. Gabe Tucker, our man, said during this pandemic, corporate America benefited the most. The working class are shouldering the load by improvising, working longer hours from home, and dealing with kids, family issues, and everything else. Continue, guys.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. Go ahead,
so
Martha.
one other aspect, one other thing I think people are sort of shunning going back to work to is that everybody has said a lot of things, which of course I agree with. But I think also people look at history of sometimes you feel like you're being penalized because you want to work. Like, you know how America is. Most people that I know or, I knew always worked two jobs. Some people had two full-time jobs. We can ask our man, Russell Pro. And some people had two full-time jobs. Some people had a job and a half. I had always until
I
three
even see my man tonight. What going on with Ralph Pro?
working the 80 hours today. Um, I was one of those who had always worked, a second job. Like I was program director for where I worked before my old job, and then in the evening I was a mental health therapist too. And so 3 days a week or 4 days a week, depending, I will go to the clinical program and then conduct therapy. So I will leave on work at 5 o'clock, and then by 5:30, I'm supposed to be there in my office at the clinical place, and waiting for clients to come to do therapy with them. But every year I filed my taxes, I was owing the IRS. Every year I filed my taxes, I was owing the IRS. So when I got this job, I'm like, you know what? It's not like you don't need the extra change, but if I got to be owing the IRS every time I file my taxes, and then also with the stress of doing what you're doing and stuff, then so that's how I just decided 3 years ago I'm not going to work a second job anymore. Thank God for my job I have now. I can pay my bills, but I'm kind of thinking that uh, this could be one of the reasons too why people are not going to work. Second, for example, if you have jobs all over there, and we know that things have increased, like rent have increased, uh, bills have increased and stuff like that. So you would think that people like me, when I say people like us, you work just one job, but then there's a temptation to work a second job, maybe like on a weekend or every other weekend, you get that little extra change. But hey, if Uncle Sam is going to be sending me letter in the envelope all the time and carry my pressure up, then I'm not going to work. So I think all of those are also factors as to why people are not working some of these jobs.
Well, I would say those who are currently sitting home, they need to start rethinking that, because the PPP program has come to an end. It came to an end in May of this year. The extended COVID unemployment benefit that also came to an end in May of this year. So I think it will make a lot of sense for those who are still hanging around to try to go back into the labor market. Because, as a social worker, one thing that I have known over the year is that if you're going to qualify for all public assistance, then it means that you're going to live in abject poverty. Because if a family of five, hypothetically, we have to survive on $30,000 a year in America, it means that you're going to live in what extreme poverty. So people have to get back to work. People have to
And,
get back to work. To work, yeah,
and you're right, Moses, because what they're doing, they're hurting themselves.
of
They're
course.
not they're not increasing their
The
financial
potential,
potential.
yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, and because you rightly said it, how much you will get in food stamps, how much you will get in public assistance, how much you will get in rent, how much you will get in LIHEAP and all those things. Those
Hmm.
things are there only when you're in dire straits. But
Absolutely.
don't make it, your hobby or your lifestyle. That's what you're gonna live on. And of course, some people will take advantage of the system.
Yeah,
They will do that. But I'd rather have a job and work diligently uh, to produce the necessary uh, financial, competence that I need to be able to take care of me, my family, and whatever else that I intend to do. But if you
absolutely.
just join us, we will be wrapping up shortly. We encourage you to call, and let's talk about this. Again, the topic here tonight is the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic since its inception, since it started. We looked at the um, employment force, workforce. We looked at the production as a result of less employees in the workplace. And we'll also look at service delivery, which we're all grappling with when you come to think about it. You put your order in, someone is calling. Let me take this call. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Are you there? Can you hear me? Are you there, caller?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you please lower your monitor because I'm hearing myself all the way from in your place.
Hello?
Caller, I can hear you, but you got to lower your monitor. Whatever you're watching, or TV or radio,
Hello?
whatever.
You can hear me?
Yes, you're good. Come in. I'm still hearing myself in the background,
Okay,
caller.
yes, here's my question.
All right, go ahead.
My question is,
We
yeah,
can hear.
everything is cut off. Okay, my question is, you guys were able to detect the impact of
Caller, you're hearing yourself, and that's why you're being hesitant. If you just
the,
shut down.
the impact
And
of
you can
COVID
listen to the
on
repeat of the broadcast.
Americans and in
It's
okay,
monitoring
you hear me
himself.
now?
Caller, we're trying to hear you, but you have a monitor that is distorting. It keeps coming back and forth with the echo because I
Okay,
can hear myself from the background. Usually, when you want to call in, you want to mute all of your devices or lower the volume considerably so that you don't hear yourself because it will kind of embarrass you when you want to talk.
okay, you hear me now?
I'm hearing you, but I'm still hearing myself because what you're listening to is loud.
Okay, you hear me now?
We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay, here's my question. In your previous discussion, you were able to discuss the impact of COVID-19 in America and among the American people. Because of their lifestyle, it's easier to detect that. So how do you detect COVID-19 impact in Liberia where everything was almost down to zero when the COVID-19 started to take impact? How do an ordinary man detect that, oh, this is happening because of COVID-19?
All right, good question, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Patrick Tuan, Nimlen Tuan. I'm
Okay.
calling from Maryland.
All right. So, Moses, and I can chime in quick, and then you guys can
Yeah,
come in. I thought it's a good question. But when
yeah,
you
it's an
talk about
excellent question.
when
Yeah.
when you when you talk about Liberia in particular, he's mentioning it's easy for us to see it here, but how do we see it in Liberia? It is glaring. In the first place, unfortunately, there are so many people unemployed in the country. The country does not have social services program in place to cater
Hmm.
to its citizens. We heard about some kind of money that was given for consider the COVID relief package. How
Hmm.
many people benefited from that? And so the Liberian man thrived by his shoestrings every day. And so it's sometimes so difficult to put the prevailing circumstances prior to the COVID and correlate it with the COVID because people are still struggling. Either way you look at it, is what it is. I came from Liberia. Of course, you can tell that the COVID is present,
Hmm.
but if a man was not employed prior to the COVID, what difference does it make in his life?
I
And
know.
he's not getting any public assistance compared to this country. So life just goes on. That's why people don't believe that COVID exists. You go into marketplaces, people are moving about but the normal businesses because it didn't change their lives considerably, you know. And you can differ with me or Master can tell me, but it really didn't change their life considerably because they didn't have employment prior to the COVID and the COVID comes now. The only thing the COVID is doing is compounding the problem by
Yeah.
price increase, by less production, by less goods coming into the country. Because I am facing that situation, doing low construction, prices of commodities and especially building materials have skyrocketed over the last several months. So, but that's where you will begin to see the low, changes, and that's how I perceive it.
I
Okay,
agree.
can I come in for Canon?
Hmm.
That's a very good question coming from Patrick. But this is how I think one of the reasons, or some of the reasons, people can see the impact of COVID. One, people may not have, I mean, historically, we always struggle to provide employment for our people. It's a given. Historically, we always had poor healthcare system, healthcare delivery system, always been poor. We always have poor social institutions, or some of them were even non-existent, except for maybe the churches and local NGOs and stuff. But the way the indicators for detecting COVID in Liberia now is the increase in the suffering. Okay, so someone didn't have a job before, but his brother had a job, or his father-in-law had a job, or his mother-in-law was running her kobo shop, and he could send the children there in the morning when they go into the zinc shack school. They can pass to their grandma and get a day or donut or mommy put a pepper cutter and eat and go to school. But at this time, with the COVID now, everything is shut down. So all those social networks, you see, when our people are very resilient and creative. We saw how Liberians have been, they fought hard, they've been resilient. So people create safety social networks that works for them. So, but when you have this guy who doesn't work at all, he has no job, and then COVID comes and impact the little kobo shop of his mother-in-law, who can no longer, make her, sell her kobo, or the father has lost his job because he's, like Moses said, non-essential. And then you have social distancing. People can go down to Waterside to hustle to sell at the toothpaste and sell at the flour and sell at the gari and stuff like that. So what it does is that it compound the situation and it increases the whatever negative situations is happening. That's how you know. Another way you know too is that um, all countries are interdependent. So as the COVID was devastating Western advanced countries, those strong economies. I mean, imagine an economy like China was nearly brought to her knees. You saw what happened in the United States. Of course, it's going to automatically filter to countries like in Africa. Like, for example, certain parts of Africa are known for certain things. Like you have the oil blocks, you have Nigeria, you have Gambia, you have the DRC Congo, you have South Sudan. They are like the oil companies. I mean, oil countries in Africa. They export oil, but then look at what happened to oil, the sale of oil and stuff on the global market as a result of COVID. And then you have those countries also that are known for extractive commodities. That's why they export, like the Ivory Coast, the cocoa, and Sierra Leone, the diamonds, and I don't know what Liberia is exporting at this time. But so those countries like Mozambique and other countries that are, focused on the mining sector, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and stuff like that. So, but you just look at the impact of COVID on those, industry, and obviously it filters down to the rest of Africa, and Liberia feels it. So I think those are just two examples how, two indicators of how you will kind of figure what's really is going on.
And another indicator, the government can say because of COVID, we ain't able to pay. So
Of
now the
course,
people struggling, they're not
it's a
paying.
huge one.
Every
Yeah,
day,
it's a huge
every
one.
day you
Yeah,
see around
yeah,
there's protests from the nurses, protests from the teacher, protests from here, but the BB men are getting paid. Oh. But
yeah.
only the downtrodden masses they don't get paid. So that's another
Just
impact, and they use COVID as the main excuse. But go ahead, Moses.
yeah. I mean, just to add on to what you guys said, the situation just further compounded, the problem of hardship for our people in Liberia. Because if you had John Brown, who never worked before, and he lived in a household with only one person working, and if that person was affected by the COVID situation, say, or the person was laid off from his or her work, it tells you how challenging it would be for that entire family to afford a daily meal. And one thing that the COVID situation also did in the country is the hike in prices. That's how you get to know how it affected our people. If you were buying, say, a bag of rice, hypothetically, for $10, because of all these challenges we're talking about regarding shipping, obviously the cost of rice will go higher. Like you said, Volcano, you're into construction, you can speak to that. You see how costly materials are. So Liberians who are undertaking projects are significantly challenged by these problems. You know, uh, uh, unfortunately, our society is such that we have no safety net for the poor. We in social services, when we talk about safety net, we're talking about services that are intended to help the poor. And unfortunately, in Liberia, we have no such programs because we have a government that spends almost 90% of its budgetary allocation on salaries. So then, how do you care for the poor? We have no room for the poor. Mhm.
Yeah, and you're right, Moses. And this is not just common to Liberia. This is common to Sierra Leone, our
Yeah.
next door neighbors. Very common to Sierra Leone, and Sierra Leone and Liberia kind of intertwine. I mean, Ivory Coast is a little advanced than both countries. Guinea
Mhm.
thought they were up there, but then now with a coup, I don't know what's happening. But Uzondu Isionyi also wrote here that COVID has adversely hit our part of the world, meaning the West African coast. We
Yeah.
had nothing like relief packages here for some of us who are not working. You can imagine. But good thing, Ghana has not been hard hit in terms of the COVID cases and deaths, but
Okay.
everything has gotten expensive. And the
Yeah.
reason why
Yeah.
things have gotten expensive worldwide is
Yeah.
because of the lack of production and the lack of
Production. Yeah.
services
Hmm.
and the shortage in the workforce. So I think those three critical factors lay the groundwork for the next discussion
Yeah.
as to why we're having all of this happening. When
Got
Liberia when will Liberia establish an unemployment or welfare system as a safety net, as Thomas Awaji? Well, Thomas Awaji didn't happen in 1847. I don't know if it's going to happen at 2022 because 2021 is about over. But Moses, man, I tell you, we at a spot where um, I don't know where we're going with this because I was thinking that COVID was almost gone, and every day now you're
no.
hearing someone tested positive, and then the whole place got to get shut down, and people
Yeah.
got to start anew.
And and
I mean, I'm now trying to see if I can schedule to get my vaccine, to
yeah.
just because they said it was good for about 8 months. The two Pfizer's that I took, so
Hmm.
it's coming around time now to do the booster. Maybe that will help. But if, again, for those of you who still kind of hesitant about taking the vaccine, it's going to impact your employment
Okay.
in some places. Just go ahead and take it and have a job again, rather than, like Moses said, think about living on social welfare, because you're not going to go anywhere.
No.
It's not going to help you. We just only 4 minutes away. Masa, your closing statement, 1.5. Moses, yours, and then we wrap this up. But I thought it
Okay.
was a great discussion. Tommy
Right.
Yeah,
guns.
absolutely.
I
Go
just
ahead,
wanted to
Masa.
throw in just very briefly the issue Mose raised about people need to start looking at trying to get off welfare and all these. The thing is all free services and get back to work. But then again, sometimes when you look at the practicality of what is happening, like we all social workers are. When I used to go out in the field, now I'm a big shot, I'm supervising people. When I used to go out in the field, I work with families. And sometimes you went to homes, like for example, if there were 8 persons in that family in the home, all 8 of them had a check.
Yeah.
All 8 person had a check, and all 8 person had different social workers, or they had different social program that people learn to be the system. So you would have one person got 600 out of check, another person got five something, another person got 498, and then everybody got their own food stamp. It may be $150 for one person, another person may have 200. Then plus, if you have babies in the house, the babies they have WIC, they have all this. So when people look at it and when they calculate it, they really think they've gotten over. But what it does is that there's something called self-decency and stuff. And then in the long run, it short-changes them because they're not putting in for any social security retirement or social security benefit like you and me.
No.
Moses?
Mhm. And one thing that I would like to say is that people who think that way, people who believe that hey they can play the system to survive. Well, I can do this, to get all the benefits that I deserve. A significant number of those people struggle with low self-esteem. Life is about progression. You don't want to be stagnant. You don't want to get contented with a $400 check monthly. What can that do for you? So people need to begin to think in terms of progression. You have to move forward. Do not allow food stamps to hold you down. You have so much potential. And I would like to wrap up by saying that hey, it's time to go back to work. I know it could be challenging for some of you, but hey, you have a family to take care of. You can afford to stay home. Throw your resumes out there. If you're looking for a social work job, come to me. We will hire you.
Hassan Kia will say, I don't think we need a welfare program in Liberia now. People might just abuse it, and there could be just some inequalities in the access. Oh, yes, you know that for a fact. Hopefully, our generation will set up a system that will transform the lives of our people and not create a system of dependency. Precious Carolyn Smith. Great show. We'll be here next week. Good night from my end. And that's Uzondu Isionyi. I believe he's in Accra, Ghana, here with us tonight. Moses, Masa, thought it was a great discussion.
It
We
was.
covered some grounds. Um, Again, that's all we can do, enlighten our people.
Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. Let me say thank you to you, Masa Volcano. This was an excellent teamwork.
Thank you guys and have a great weekend.
You do the same.
And it's 8:30 in Pennsylvania, where our studio's coming from. We're broadcasting live from the Philadelphia area here in the state of Pennsylvania. Volcano Shelton, you just heard Master Washington and Moses Sandy, the three of us here in the issues room. We come your way on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. and Friday, 7 p.m. So Miata Stella Herring say this is the first time and coming across our platform. So we encourage you, share the link, invite others to come in because we're here to stay. We're an alternative media platform that deal with all of the different issues trending in our world. While it is true that Liberia is our common patrimony, yet we discussed the African diaspora. I just talked about, Sierra Leone being connected to Liberia in part, and same thing that's happening in Liberia is also trending in Sierra Leone, Guinea, and, the Ivory Coast, all of these countries that are our neighbors. We'll be back here on Tuesday by the grace of God. Um, I just want to quickly put this out there that at some point we'll begin to do some what I would call emergency broadcast. We're looking at a situation in Liberia today. Former Vice President Joseph Boakai received the hem of leadership as the chairman now of the CPP. And what was glaring, Alice Cummings did not attend the program. The program was well attended. I heard that Daniel Cassell was there and all of the other political gurus within the CPP, but it was glaring that Alice Cummings did not attend. So we probably will be discussing something around that, and we could be broadcasting live on Sunday. So in the meantime, hang tight. Continue to follow us on Facebook, on YouTube. We'll be, sending all our promos, and just like us and share the link. Thank you so much for being with us this evening. It was a pleasure, and we'll be back here again, God's willing, on another day. Volcano Shelton saying good night.